how sweet it is to be loved by you nerds. What is up? It's me, your buddy, pal, HeyArcher. Welcome back to HeyArcher Live here on Nerd Affiliated. I did not think I was going to be able to do the stream. I talked about it yesterday. I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to be home in time, but it turns out I was home in time. And shout out to the wife for making me. And if you don't have one yet, she made just a little bit of
more specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
so that way I can start the show almost on time. This is your weekly Thursday night nerdy talk show where we sit back and relax, and we'll run it back one more time. Where we sit back and relax. I said we sit back and relax, and hopefully by now you've poured yourself just a little bit
More
of.
specifically vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
It just never gets old. As we cruise into the weekend, I didn't get a chance to promote the show, so if you're here, you are a real one because you probably have the bell highlighted, selected, so you can know when I'm going live. But of course, if you have a YouTube channel, podcast, blog, vlog, OnlyFans, newsletter, smoke signals, whatever it may be, put it in the chat. Support one another. Plug yo shit. Yes, we will probably talk about some illegal aliens here on the stream. But without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend. It is me. It is me. I am the problem. It is me. Yeah. Like I said, did not think I'd be able to do a stream tonight. Did not think it was going to happen. I was actually on a job. I was doing a job. God, what's the thing Wolverine says? I'm in the business, or I do the job. It's a nasty job. It's a bad job or something, but I'm good at what I do, or whatever it is. I was on a job, and I knew that by the time it was ending, it probably would be like when the show was starting, when this show was going to start. But everything kind of went a lot faster than what we thought. So I was like, oh, I'll actually be able to get home in time to do the stream. So I was actually at the desk ready to go at 8:15, but I was like, I'm just going to get some things set up. And shout out to Dave's Dimension, of course. First one in the chat. But also, I just noticed his DM asking if I was going live today. So the answer is yes, Dave. Thanks for checking on me. But we're here. We are here. Ultra Carta in the house. Damn it, nerdy, the SOB, I didn't know the live already started. Yeah. That's why it's good you guys have that bell notified. So that way when we go live, you get the heads up. Nah, mean. But let's get some shameless plugs out the way. Gotta resize the screen again. Here we go. Of course, you can hit us up on Instagram, Nerd Affiliated. We're also on Facebook. We have the Facebook group, which is growing very, very nicely. So if you can, make sure that you give us a follow on Facebook, of course, on Instagram, on TikTok, and we have the Discord as well. So make sure you hit us up there. Social media is usually the fastest way to get in contact with us. Not that I'm that efficient. As you can see, I have 7 DMs unread, but I try to get to them when I can. And of course, if you need links to everything, you hit up nerdaffiliated.com, your one-stop shop for all things Nerd Affiliated. Links to the latest live shows, latest videos in general, latest photography, and then of course you can always pick up some sweet, sweet merch, which, of course, as a reminder, Nerd Lieutenants in your channel membership additional perk is that you save 10% on your purchases. I almost said the code out loud, but I won't. Just make sure you use that code at checkout. Save yourself 10%. And everybody else who is a channel member, of course, we always appreciate your support at the cadet tier. But more importantly, we appreciate all of you who come by every Thursday, or even if you've come by just one time. Greatly, greatly appreciate all of the support. Tony in the house. Good to see you. You're not late. I'm late. I'm always late. But yeah, let's jump into some, movie stuff. Why not? Might as well. Talk of the town. So we'll go over here to Box Office Mojo. By the way, I thought this was going to be a Prime Day premiere advertisement. It's not a Prime Day advertisement. Oh, no, it is. Oh, they're doing a Prime Day music thing. Wow, 4 months are free. I picked up some pretty sweet stuff on sale, especially for your Ghostbuster fans. You have the 4-pack on sale. So maybe I'll do like a post afterwards of some of the things I've picked up for Prime Day. Got a really sweet gimbal today. Really sweet gimbal. Ghost, one more mod in the house. Good to see you. He's back. KO in the house. Good to see you. Appreciate both of you. So going over to the movie news, we have a pretty big premiere happening. A worldwide release happening tomorrow, and that is Superman. It is the first movie in the new James Gunverse, which he apparently hates the name, but we're going to continue to call it the Gunverse. So the first movie in the Gunverse premiered on what was that, Tuesday? I feel like Tuesday everybody was going for those influencer viewings, and then yesterday was the Amazon Prime early screening, and then most likely, a lot of places had some viewings today, but tomorrow was like the official worldwide release. So I'm surprised that it's not already on here, considering it's been out. It's made $7 internationally. But tomorrow we should probably see the Thursday night monies showing up, and then it'll be off to the races. So right now, Superman I saw was trending at about like 200 mil for an opening weekend. We'll go over to a spreadsheet. And let's sort it this way here. If it opens up at 200 mil, it'd be the number one open of the year so far. I'm pretty sure. Let's go over here. I haven't updated in a while, but they don't show the openings like that. Yeah, 146 for Lilo, and then Minecraft we saw there was also not 200, 162. So it looked like, from what I saw, it was a 200 open, unless they meant 200 total domestic, which wouldn't also be like the worst thing ever. It wouldn't be great, but right now, even if Superman only does 200 domestic, it would be over anything Marvel's done this year. So there's that. Now, the movie has, been getting a huge marketing push. They're pushing the living crap out of this movie. So I feel pretty confident in our rule of 2 for figuring out the budget on that movie. It might even be more. So did they say what the budget was? Superman budget. Superman 2025. Okay. 225. 225. So it would have to be almost 500. Oh, I don't even have Superman on the list. Oh, my bad. It's weird I don't have that. 225, 123, 123. Do I have the Gunverse on here? French. I'll do it that way. Superman. And let's see. So Warner Brothers. Now you guys get a chance to see like kind of how I set up my my list here. DC. Actually, let me turn this off. All right. So if I sort by just DC, if it does 200 mil on an open, it'd be the number one DC movie release. So we'll see what it does. We'll see what it does. Now it obviously it's been taking heat because of James Gunn's recent statements, and I did a video on it, so you guys can go check that out. The cliff notes are: anybody complaining about the movie being too woke because it's an immigrant story, congratulations, you just found out about Superman. So this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But you know, Fox gonna Fox, and people who claim everything is woke are gonna continue to do that no matter what comes out. Now, I was super hyped, no pun intended, super hyped to see the movie upon the initial trailer. Once we got like the second like teaser or whatnot, and as the year went on and we got more and more superhero things, I kind of lost my desire to see it, and to steal that line from Ultra Carter there, no desire to watch it in theaters specifically. Seeing something like Sinners, I was like, my love of like a movie that's not a franchise and original was like reignited, because up to this point, everything has been remakes, franchises, etc. So that, if anything, Sinners made me even least interested in seeing Superman. But because of the backlash it's been getting from people like claiming it's all woke and stuff, it's making me want to go see the movie. It's making me want to, contribute to them actually making money. And did he make a post about this? Let's see. I shared something on my story. I don't know if he actually went ahead and made like a post about it. He didn't. So let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Here we go. Here we go. So Dean Cain came out and said that James Gunn made a mistake calling Superman an immigrant. It's going to hurt the box office. Dean Cain. Now, this is on brand for a lot of people that experienced a little bit of stardom at one point in their life. Dean Cain, we obviously know him from Superman. That's all we know him from. The Adventures of Lois and Clark. Adventures of Superman and Lois and Clark. So, obviously we know him from that. And that's about it. Nothing else. And what has happened with a lot of these people from like back in the 90s is they lose relevance, right? They don't get other work that we're all like, oh man, they're so great in this and that. They lose their relevance. And they for some reason think that by turning grifter, it's going to help them regain some sort of like new audience. It's going to get people back on their side and be like, oh, I forgot about this person. Like, they assume that's the path to go down. Now, don't get me wrong, turning grifter, in case anybody doesn't know, it's like you go like right-wing conspiracy theorist type of person and you're just like overly try to cater to that audience. But you know, in the past, people who have turned their content into that have obviously seen pushes in their algorithm. I talked about it actually also this week, where negative content does tend to get people's attention. It, you know, the angry emotion is one of the strongest ones, if not the strongest one in your body. So whenever people see like a video or a title where somebody's all like, you know, I can't believe this happened to me, or, you know, it's like this, or, you know, like it gets the plants going. That's what plants crave. So Dean Cain has been on that path for a while. I actually looked it up. Number of appearances on Fox News and other, you know, hardcore right things, but it's just not working. It's just not working. So, you know, he's now back in the spotlight for all of a second about these comments on the new Superman movie, instead of even just like big upping this movie. Instead of even just doing that. You know, Dean Cain only has 142,000 followers. Way more than me, right? But only 142,000 followers. Father Freedom, eternal optimist. Yes, dogs, no cats. They will eat you. You know, Neil McDough, whatever. Same thing. He went on a whole, you know, rant about how Hollywood was out to get him because he was like, "Oh, I'm a man of faith, and I'm not going to do certain things." Meanwhile, he's doing violent movies up and down throughout the early 2000s. You know, like that was his calling card. Not super violent, not like overly violent. He never asked. I mean, he was never on screen doing anything like, you know, risque or anything like that. But these people, like, anytime like their popularity starts to go down, they got to pull the card. Like, oh, everybody's out to get me because I'm a man of faith or whatever. Whatever, bro. Whatever, bro. You're just not relevant anymore. You didn't find a way to stay relevant. So, you know, now he's on the Comic-Con circuit. You know, he jumped on that bandwagon. And if anything, you should be really trying to ride the bandwagon. Superman's coming out. A new movie's coming out. People are really excited about it. Go on a Superman push. Hey, guys, remember me? I was Superman. I'm so excited for this movie to come out. Even though I'm not involved, and it would have been great to be involved, I'm so excited Superman is back. That should be his entire feed. It should just be Superman posts up and down. No, the last Superman post is the one of Superman taking a dump. First comment, bro, you said the new Superman movie is woke. Do you even know the meaning for woke? Superman was always an illegal immigrant. If you didn't know that, then you didn't understand Superman. Bro, you were the worst Superman ever 28 years ago. Move on. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. And I will always take this back to the Gina Carano thing. Like, these people are so self-destructive. So self-destructive. Everything has to be some sort of moral battle against the system. And all they do is F up the bag. Because they can't help themselves. Can't help themselves. Dean Cain cannot help himself. Just has to F up the bag. When there was a free bag there for the grabbing, considering you were Superman. Gina Carano, I always give the example because she felt how she felt about the lockdowns and the system and all that stuff. In hindsight, of course, many things have come out since then. But at the time, you're about to get your own Star Wars show. Your own Star Wars show. And you can't STFU to just get the show, get the bag, and keep it moving. Can't do it. Can't do it. Refuse. So they can you. And then what do? Sue to try to come back. All losers. All losers. So because of that kind of, rhetoric and people and all that stuff, it makes me now want to go see the movie because I want the movie to do well. It's going to do well without my view, right? Like I'll probably see it at home, but if I don't go to the theater, it's still going to do well. At this point, the only reason I want to see it in the theaters sooner than later, potential spoilers. But I feel like I'm not going to be able to, fight off the spoilers for long. So, Kevin Sorbo, another one. Kevin Sorbo, man, what a joke. What a joke. No, they're out to get me. So I'm just going to do Christian movies all day. You want to do Christian movies? Fine. If that's your, if there's a higher calling to you to want to make Jesus movies all day, by all means, go ahead and do it. But they do those movies while bashing the very industry that got them in the door, because that industry doesn't see a need for them anymore. And they're like, yeah, the system is corrupted. They're all sinners. So here's another movie about somebody standing up for Jesus. Straight to CBN. Make $1,000. It's dumb. It is dumb. So, unfortunately, we have to, even though we have some of these people still around, like Dean Cain coming back for a Superman cameo, like in a multiverse thing, could care less at this point. Don't even want to see it. Would I have loved to have seen some sort of like Hercules reunion thing? Sure. Do I want to see it now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do not want Kevin Sorbo to get any more money. Not from me. Not from me. Superman's always been a legal immigrant, SMH. It's a superhero movie, Fox News, sit your clickbait asses down. And it's funny because in that video, they talked about, like, I don't want to see agendas in my movies, but yet you're literally talking about an agenda as to why you feel like the movie should not have an agenda. It's so dumb. Dean Cain looking like a little attention, former Buffalo Bill who blew out his knee, fell on acting, went and was on TV Superman, a cheesy one at that. But the thing is, I love that show because much like a lot of things, it was the only current iteration of Superman we had for a while until we got the animated series. So, there's some cases where, I take the Kevin Smith approach where it's like, I can't hate this thing because that's all we had at the time. In current day, it's a little bit different because we have way more options. We have a larger library of things. But think about it. Like, could you really go back and shit on Batman 89? No. Yes, it's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie, fantastic acting. But even considering all that, you can't even knock that movie because the only other Batman we had up to that point was Adam West. That was it. The cartoon came after Batman 89. So it's like, there's certain periods in time where it's like, you can't really knock the thing because that's all we had. Now it's a little different. There was a dry spell of superhero stuff. Superman and Lois, or Lois and Clark, was our only Superman we had, weekly basis. It was entertaining. Ride the train. If there's any time to ride the Superman train, it would be now. Can't help himself. Cannot help himself. Collecting with Cool in the house. Good to see you. Christopher Reeves can't be topped, but this one looks all right. Movies are supposed to be an escape from reality, and we don't need to look into it that much deeper than that, do we? Left, right, center, ha ha ha. Yes and no, right? Because here's the thing. Here's something that, like, I hadn't really thought about until recent years. In my exit from the fandom menace / everything is being woke these days. Think about Star Wars. We all love Star Wars. Star Wars was literally a political statement about how we have to fight against the system. And even though it seems like a battle that you cannot win, as long as you believe not just in yourself, but you believe in the force, the higher power, then you can do what's right despite the system. Stormtroopers were literally freaking you-know-whats. I can't say it on stream because of the algorithm. But that's what stormtroopers were. And the funniest thing I saw the other day was somebody posted on TikTok. They had a some sort of like Andor like bumper sticker or Andor related bumper sticker, and it was next to a like Trump 2024 sticker. And the person was like, "Did you not pay attention during Andor that you think those two are even like remotely related, much less you like one and also like the other one?" It doesn't make any sense. So yes, there are certain things that I'm like, all right, do we need that in our media? Not necessarily, but so much of our media, especially the classics, they did have some sort of underlying message to them, including Superman. You know, I mean, that's even if you took out the like, even if you took out like the overall message of like Superman, it's always about freedom and hope and doing what's right and self-control, right? Like Superman could rule the world if he wanted to, choosing not to because that's not the right thing to do. There's always been a message to these things. That's what makes them so good, is there messages that tend to be relatable. So with the current one and the backlash it's getting from like Fox, it's like, bro, we haven't even seen the script. We haven't even watched the movie. But that Superman is literally a freaking allegory, if that's the right phrasing or usage of the word. It's literally an allegory for escaping Germany during World War II and fleeing to a new place where you don't know anybody and trying to blend in. That's the core of Superman. Literally said the writers of Superman. So there's always been messaging, right? There's always been messaging. There always will be messaging. And stories being relatable, even horror movies, right? Think about it. A horror movie, the secret to a successful horror movie, with of course some exception, is the viewer has to watch the movie and think this could happen to me to a certain extent. Jaws, right? Classic example. A movie like Alien, I would say, is the opposite, but Jaws, for example. Actually, last week, up here in Massachusetts, a girl was paddleboarding. Her friend was taking a picture of her, and then a fin comes out going towards her board. And you see like the smiling, and then you see the like right after. That's what made Jaws so scary, is sharks are real things. I like going to the beach. I like to go in the water. Sharks like blood. So it made it more scary. That happens with a lot of things. Something like even Jason, right? You've never gone to camp before or gone camping and you're in the woods and you're by a lake and there's nobody around and you're like, man, that looks like a real tangible place. Like a real tangible thing. What if there's an evil out there? I don't know. That's what makes things scary, is them having some sort of relatability to them. So that crosses into superhero stuff too. Having to make tough decisions, do what's right, fight a bad guy that's stronger, better, faster, and all that stuff. Smallville was the best TV Superman, wasn't it though? I hated Smallville. I understand a lot of people love Smallville. And as much as I hate to admit it, it is one of the most popular ones. I will say Superman and Lois, severely underrated. So I highly suggest you check that out. But my Superman is always going to be the animated series, specifically Justice League. Even though I did like Tim Daly in the Avengers Superman, Justice League Superman is my jam. My jam. Dave agrees with one or both. Totally agree with Collecting McCool. Hands down, Superman was the best Superman TV show. Neil's one of one of the darkest evil villains on CW Arrowverse as Damien Dark. That was a good arc. I did enjoy that. CW should get more credit because they were the best DC content providers for years. Agreed. Arrowverse was amazing. It was amazing. It's funny, I didn't like Arrow when it started. And then when they did the Ra's al Ghul story arc, and he, like, they cliffhanger it literally on the cliff that he dies, and everybody was talking about it. I was like, all right, I'll give Arrow another try. And I was so happy I did. Of course, it ended poorly, as most TV shows do. But yeah, CW, you know, the unsung hero of DC being where it is now. Not quite the same, but, you know, it's kind of like Iron Man. Iron Man and Jon Favreau will never receive the credit they deserve, because without that movie, we don't have Endgame. We don't have Infinity War. We don't have any of that stuff. That is crazy. We're not talking about just influencing like other things, right? We're not talking about Star Wars influencing, I don't know, I can't think of something a bit like sci-fi. Star Trek, right? Star Trek was first. Or technically Space Odyssey was first, you know? So like, or even like Akira, right? Like Akira, without Akira, you don't get Blade Runner in its environment, the way that it looks with the mega city and all that stuff, right? Like that's an influence into like a different franchise. But literally an entire movie studio exists because of that movie. And all these characters came from that movie. So yeah, Jon Favreau, like they should have a statue of him at Disney, in my opinion. Like he should, but that's America, right? That's America. Ironically, Sorbo and Kane both appear on Supergirl TV show on CW, SMS, Religious Idealists United. Yeah, it's true. I love the show back then, too. Hasn't aged that well. That's fair. That's fair. Dada Films in the house. Good to see you. Everybody saying hi to each other. Love that. Geek Strong in the house. The strongest one. There you go. Love that. Ironically, there's Fan Expo. They're getting a lot of Supermen up there here. Brandon Routh, Tom Welling, Tim Daly, Greg Newberg, but no Dean Cain. Big surprise. He was somewhere a couple months ago, and they all lined up for a photo. So he's been around. Ozymandias in the house. Good to see you. I think it's your first time on stream. Obviously, we're in the same like group chats, but I think it's your first time on stream. We're saying hi to each other. And smash that like button for Archer and check out his merch store. Appreciate you, Dave. Oh, sorry. Appreciate you. So I do have to have, at one point, I'm going to have Dada Films on the house so we can talk about his HasLab purchase. But let's look at the current HasLab that is on the move. I was going to say as a reminder, but I don't even think it's been advertised that well. Over at Hasbro Pulse, they actually do have a Pulse premium sale happening right now. It's not the greatest. They've done better before. Like this one, 15% off. Like, whack. 15% off the Hulkbuster. Whack. Yeah, like a lot of these were at a deeper discount at Target and Walmart than they are here on the website. Wolverine, I'm considering getting another one. You know, that one did not go on sale, you know, in real life, so maybe here. But 15%, man, that's so lame. 10% on that one. That's why I don't think anybody's talking about the sale. Like, nobody's posting about it. Like, you can't even army build it. You know, I'm debating getting this one, but I'm still convinced at some point it will be cheaper on like Amazon. And I think it went up in price. I thought it was $40. Oh, I think you get 20% off or 15% off, whichever the highest one is, when you're signed in as a member. I swear I saw this at $40. So, not happening. But yeah, let's go over to the HasLab real quick. The G.I. Joe current HasLab, which is the Snowcat. And I have to do a post this week about it because I love doing my weekly, check-in on how these HasLabs are doing. I did one on Monday, I believe, because I just thought it was interesting. It didn't back already by Monday. At that point, it had been like 3 days. And we are a week in, and it still has not backed. It is at 6,770 backers. Now, going to our last update. Yeah. As of 3 days ago, it was at 6,526. So it only went up by around 200. Now, the HasLabs always have a bump at the end. So this will inevitably have a bump. The bump will get it over the edge, so it will back. But are we reaching breaking point on vehicles? I've talked about this a couple different times on the channel. And shout out to Just Incredible. He did a video today about, who makes the best vehicles out there. You can't say McFarlane. He means who makes the best vehicles out there that nobody complains about. But I think, overall, I really do think we're approaching a break point on vehicles. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of things happening in the world where people may not have $325 to throw down on another vehicle. So that has to remain a thing and has to be remain talked about in the conversation of this HasLab. But at the same time, if you're somebody who's already bought every other HasLab, unless you have them on display somewhere in your collection room where there's plenty of room for more vehicles, eventually you run out of space. Now imagine if you got freaking the Thunder Tank. That thing was massive from Super 7. That's takes up 2 spots. The Batmobiles from McFarlane, those are big. So I think we're starting to run out of, I think people are starting to run out of room. And in that 6,770 number, you obviously do have the flippers there. To somebody else's point, they were like, I forget which HasLab it was, but somebody made a comment and they were like, oh, the damn flippers, they're always buying things and ruining it. Honestly, when it comes to HasLabs, I am all for flippers. This isn't even my original idea, so I'm not trying to pawn this as my own thing. Somebody said it, and I was like, that's actually a really good point. Wish I could remember who it was. But toy flippers are a massive help when it comes to HasLabs. For one, if you missed out, obviously there's a route to get it. You're going to pay more money, and that's kind of on you, but at least you can still get it thanks to a flipper. You end up being kind of like a sucker when you're paying a markup for something like the Proton Pack that they ended up re-releasing. But, for things like this, where they're like, you can buy 5 max, you need those people who are like, oh, I'm going to buy 5 and hang on to it and hopefully I could sell it for a premium. You need those people. Again, there are some people who are like, oh, I'm going to skip this and I'll get it later. Or I'll skip this and then down the road, they start collecting that line and they're like, oh, I should get that. Oh my God, sorry. They're like, oh, I should really collect that vehicle set now, and they'll get it. But I'm telling you, I will say it from the rooftops. Those of you who are watching this channel right now and watch this kind of content on a regular basis, you are in the minority of people who know about this stuff. You are totally in the minority. There are people that I actually learned this 2 different ways. I learned it from Josh, Casual Nerd, who comes on the show. Shout out to Josh. I learned from him whenever I show him something. He's like, oh, I didn't know that existed. And I'm like, how'd you not know? I post about it every week. But 2, if you go into the Ghostbuster forums, there are people who go into the Ghostbuster forums. There's a new person every week who's like, hey, did you know Hasbro made proton packs? Hey, did you know that Hasbro launched this proton pack? And it's like, how did you not know that? But that's the thing. That's most people. Most people don't sit there and watch all this content on a regular basis. Same thing goes with politics. There are people who just do not know what's happening because they don't sit there and waste their time watching endless Senate hearings like I do. Not proud of it. I find it interesting. But most people don't find that kind of stuff interesting. Most people don't sit there and peruse HasbroPulse.com. There's a lot of people who don't even know Hasbro Pulse, the website, exists. And then they'll see this at a comic book show and be like, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that they made that. How much is it? $500? Yeah, sure, why not? And they had no idea it came out a year prior for $325. Hell, Anthony bought his proton pack after the fact. I was already collecting at that point, and I didn't know Hasbro released it. I was like, wait, they had a what? They do crowdfund? Since when? So yeah. You can find a boring ass skeleton crew figures at Ross for cheap. Yep. G.I. Joe HasLab is cool, but not enough for me to buy it. A couple cons and anniversaries, so not even entertaining it. True. I've never been a fan of Star Wars Black Series Army Builder packs, especially the ones including Rebel Troopers, since they didn't come with more swappable parts and different ethnicities. I'm telling you, I will always say this until they change it. Hasbro is missing out by charging full price for Army Builders. Not only when they're individual, but when they're double, and you have these 2-packs, and the 2-packs are 50 bones, nobody's paying that for freaking Booster. I want Turbo Man. Give me Turbo Man. Booster should not be the same price. The G.I. Joe HasLabs are amazing, but these vehicles take up too much space. Facts. Legacy of Nerd in the house. Good to see you. Legacy of Nerd doing great coverage on Superman. He loved it. Trying to get me to see it. Everybody saying hi to each other. Archer is speaking the truth about GB fan groups. Yeah, or Facebook groups. It's true. People don't know. There was this week in one of my videos, I talked about Tim Kennedy. And if you don't know, UFC fighter, combat veteran. He ended up being outed as doing stolen valor, and it ended up being true. And the guy I was watching his video about, or the guy who made a couple of videos on it, I was watching his latest one, and he was like, Tim Kennedy's career is done. Now everybody knows that he has stolen valor. And I was like, bro, that's not true at all. The amount of people that would sit there and even look this up is so small. So small. Like a Tim Kennedy video. Like if Tim Kennedy goes on Joe Rogan, for example, and Joe Rogan does not talk about the stolen valor thing, that video is still going to get a couple million views. Whereas the video of somebody talking about Tim Kennedy doing stolen valor gets like 20,000 views. 20,000 versus millions. You know, no fault to his own, but there's with every single fandom, there's a wall, and it's not even that far into the race, but there's a wall that you hit with like how much I'm willing to like know about everything happening in that fandom. For most people, it's like, is there a movie? Is there a TV show? And they move on. They're not there in the Facebook groups, Instagram pages, TikTok algorithm, watching YouTube channels that talk about it. They're not doing that. There are people who are not doing that. So with the HasLab stuff, you know, I feel like by the prices going up, they're continuing to lose the casual person. But the flippers, man, they will still make their money on it because there's still casual people who don't even know it exists. No clue. Absolutely no clue. Did I not do this right? trying to sign into something. I should have wrote that down. Geek Shrug says, I'm expecting 2 HasLab cantinas, 1 Ecto 1A, and a Disney Star Speeder being delivered by possibly November. I expect to be in divorce court by December. That's hilarious. Yeah, the Ecto is cool. I mean, here's the thing. Dino has a great idea, though, with the when it comes to the cantina. Because he was like, I'm going to sell the carded figures on the second one and then sell the cantina separately. Which I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because there are probably Star Wars people out there who just didn't know the cantina was coming out. Or they want those figures, no desire to buy the cantina. So, however, I do think that more and more people are starting to do that. And I don't know if going forward, that should be like the goal of every single HasLab. So, for example, there are a bunch of people who said they were buying 2 Ecto 1s, selling the figures on one set, selling the car and the in that same set separately. I don't know how many Ghostbuster fans are out there that are willing to buy, especially the figures individual that didn't already, back it. He said, no, I'm keeping all the figures, open one set, but I'm selling. Oh, that's what it was. You were selling the second cantina. Yeah. Tony says, I got 2 Ecto 1s. See, like something that like you could do with 2 Ecto 1s is you could say, I'm going to, have one as a 1, one as a 1A, and then I'm going to sell the second set of figures, right? I'm sure somebody will buy those. I don't know if they're going to spend the total amount of like the whole purchase on those, but I'm sure people could be convinced to do that. Yeah, 1 and the 1A. I'll be fully honest with you guys. 1,000% transparency. I am hoping that this channel, and with your guys' help, I'm hoping that we get so big that Hasbro, for some reason, just blesses us with a freaking Ecto. Or a second 84 pack. We get something for free on that scale. I'm really hoping that happens at some point. That it's like, hey, you've been so cool. Here's this thing. And I'm like, wow. I really didn't need this, but I'll take it. And then I go home and I'm like, yes. That's what I'm hoping for. I have it set up for each of the movies and the figures. Yeah. Especially with the new 4-pack coming out, they're going to look real good next to the 1. For sure. Speaking of vehicles, actually, I did pick up something today, and I would buy the vehicle for it because now it's on sale. I ended up picking up Throttle from Biker Mars for $8. They were clearanced down to $8. So they had at my local, they had Throttle, and they had Vinny, I think was his name. Did not have him. I'm forgetting his name at the moment. And they had his bike. They had his bike, but then the 2 mice here. So the bikes are now down to $20, I believe, from $50. And then the mice are down to $8 from $30, I think they were full price, $25 or $30. So I would buy that. He was my favorite of the figures when they came out when I was a kid. And I had his bike as well. I thought he had the coolest bike. So like aesthetically, I was like, oh, if I'm going to get any of them, I'm only going to get Throttle. And I definitely want to get his bike. I'd probably pay full price for the bike at this point. But I was like, I really don't need the other mice. If they were all there, like if the 3 of them were there and the 3 sets of bikes were there, I probably could have been convinced. But for him, I was like, there's no way I could skip him for $8. So now I got to try to find his bike See if there's another Walmart. Now I used to live by like 3 Walmarts. Now I live by just one. So I got to figure that out. Patrick in the house. Yeah, $8. Good to see it. I want to see them do build a firehouse. Yeah, that would be sick. Vinny was your favorite as a kid? Nice. Paid full price for all 3 mice and 1 bike. I feel that. Here's the thing. I don't blame anybody for paying full price on these. If anything, I'd rather people pay full price on these. Not because I want more from the line, even though they are releasing more in the line, but because I know that that's like a small business. Like the guy who runs that brand, what is this? Naselli or whatever. He was on, this thing has dust on it too. It's crazy. He did a podcast episode with Seth. You guys know Seth Bear. And, he talked about his love of that franchise and the love of wanting to make figures for, niche franchises out there. And it was a good episode. It was a really good podcast. And I was like, I kind of want to buy these just to support the little guy. Because, little guy doesn't get a lot of help these days. But when I got my hands on it, I was like, I don't have support all the little guy's money. So I can't buy this. But shout out to Disavowed Action Figures. I saw his post about the $8. So I was like, yo, you know what? I'm actually passing Walmart. Haven't been to Walmart in months. I'm going to post a toy hunt probably tomorrow. And I knew they had some of these at least. So just got to find his bike. Cool. Yeah, I caught up on that. So, but I did do a big boy purchase. I finally did a purchase at Big Bad Toy Store.
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Yeah, I did it. I finally made a purchase at Big Bad Toy Store. I had no desire to make this purchase. Zero. But here's what happened. Oh, I'm gonna open it up. I'll open it right now, actually. Why not? So one of the best, or not necessarily best, but one of the most popular lines last year, and out of nowhere lines last year, was the Jaded Toy Street Fighter figures. I feel like those things came out of the gate hot. I don't have a knife. They came out the gate hot. The Jaded Toy Street Fighter figures. And the Fei Long figure, I think, was the one that really got people hooked on the Jaded Toy line. So at the time, the Target that was by my house, actually, I lived by 3 different Targets. None of them carried the Jada line. I had never seen it. So then I finally, by the time we get to the wave that had, because you had Fei Long, Ryu, and Chun-Li, and then the second wave, I know Bison was in that wave, maybe Bison and Cammy. I saw Bison at the store. I had a Target that wasn't by me, but was on my way to work, and I randomly stopped by it. Hang on, I'm just going to mute real quick while I open this plastic. All the accessories fell out. So I saw Bison at this one Target on my way to work, and I was like, man, again, great price point for everything we're getting here. I kind of want to support it. It's just not my jam. And I thought maybe I'll get Guile, because Guile's just that cool. Hang on, I'm just gonna mute one more time. So probably should have waited to mute until that. was this that fell? Oh, his hands. It was his hands. So I was like, maybe I'll get Guile because I was always a Guile fan. So I didn't see Guile. I ended up seeing eventually Ryu, and then I saw Ken, and I was like, man, these are cool, but those are not my definitive versions. I'm not trying to collect the whole Street Fighter wave. Street Fighter as a whole was never my thing, but there were two versions of Street Fighter that I did love. One of them, of course, was Street Fighter 2 Alpha, because I used to love going to the arcade to play that at the local pizzeria. The other one, though, was X-Men versus Street Fighter. X-Men versus Street Fighter was my shit. Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember first game I had was Marvel Superheroes, right? It was Marvel Superheroes was the fighting game. Then Street Fighter vs. X-Men came out in Japan, I want to say. So I had that import. And then I eventually got the US version. And I love that game. Love that game. And then eventually we got Marvel vs. Capcom after that. But X-Men vs. Street Fighter was my shit. It was my absolute shit. So those versions of the Street Fighter characters and the Street Fighter 2 Alpha versions, those are like my animation styles, my versions that I wanted. So I'm listening to a couple toy channels, and they're like Robo Don't Know and some other ones, and they talk about Storm Arena coming out with Street Fighter figures, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, I don't even know who that is. I've never collected Storm Arena before. Whatever. And then I see the figures, and I'm like, hot damn. I was like, hot damn, those are my versions. I was like, that, especially for Ken with the ponytail and the bow there. I was like, this is my version of Ken. If I'm gonna get any version, the Alpha 3. I was like, if I'm gonna get any version of Ken, it would be this one. So I clocked it in my head, said I'd come back to it at some point. And then Articulated Ninja dropped his video. And I was done. I was like, I'm good. I'm in. I don't care. I was like, I don't care. I'm in. We'll play a little bit of his video so you. Oh, there it is.
I'm still going to purchase Jada Toys. They're still great, right? But this is much bigger than that. Yes, they did show up Jada Toys. There's no comparison here between Storm Arena, SH Figure Arts, and Jada Toys Ken. There's still no comparison. Storm Arena destroys SH Figure Arts and Jada Toys, but what Storm Arena has done has destroyed everyone else as well.
Storm Arena has changed everything. It's over for everyone else. Jada Toys who?
Yeah! Storm Arena, legends can't compete. Storm Arena making Hasbro retreat from the paint to the joints. Flawless with the flows. Storm Arena squad, action figure pros.
Storm Arena, strike a pose. Iconic figures, everybody knows.
I mean, come on. That looks pretty good. Not only was it the shirtless option that I was like, damn, that's from the video game. The articulation on these things. He ends up doing a comparison to Marvel Legends.
Damn shame.
But even Kazar, and at least those guys have butterfly joints, but none of their butterfly joints can compete with this Storm Arena Ryu. And here's where it gets even more. Here's where it gets more ridiculous. I started to think, what is the only Hasbro product in my entire collection that could compete with this guy and all of his articulation and engineering? Who can compete with this guy? You guessed it.
Marvel Legends Maximum.
Maximum Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is a much skinnier character, so it's easier for him to get into certain poses and positions better than Ryu. But no, Ryu can still do everything that Maximum Spider-Man can do. All the things that Hasbro tried to use to justify that maximum price for, it's already here in Storm Arena for $27. Drop down ball hinge legs to give greater range of motion, double ab crunch, floating midsection, deep cut butterfly joints, all double hinged and pinless all throughout the body, a foot hinge, a toe swivel, whatever you want to call it, double ball neck for greater range of motion. And with Storm Arena, you still get import quality and smooth joints, not stuck, gummy, or ratchet clicking type of joints that we get with Hasbro, right? And you guys can see right here, he's just as dynamic as far as range of motion as a Maximum Spider-Man. Maximum Spider-Man is the only thing in my collection that can try to compete with this Storm Arena Ryu. From the basic things like the head looking up, the head looking down, bending down, touching toes or touching the floor, sitting down, Maximum Spider-Man competes with Ryu. Even them sitting with their legs crossed or holding their feet up. There is no flight stand used, there is no blue tack or anything sticky. This is just them competing naturally. So you guys can see right there, no other Marvel Legends can hold a candle to this Ryu, except it has to be a Maximum Marvel Legends. So if this thing is in the same class as Maximum Spidey, clearly it beats out anything that is not as articulated as well as Maximum Spider-Man. And to me, they are tied because Maximum Spider-Man is so skinny. Ryu has those thick ass pants on and he's still able to do everything that Maximum Spidey is able to do.
Sold. I was sold. And then I thought maybe this thing is like $50. That's going to knock me out from getting it. It was the same price as a Marvel Legend. Same price as a Marvel Legend. I mean, well, plus $2. Wild. So I was like, I got to get Ken. And there's no way you can get Ken without getting Ryu. So I picked those bad boys up. They're in my pile of loot over at Big Bad Toy Store, so we'll see what else makes it there. Yo. This is actually a really good figure. Your boy feels like an asshole. I feel like an asshole. The plastic feels smooth. The joints, double jointed, pinless at the knee, at the elbow. Cell shading on his glasses. Is it going to focus on it? And I'm just like, man, I kind of want him. I kind of want a photo of him like this on the bike. Fuck. Yo, this is a quality action figure. This is a real quality figure. Quick size comparison here. McFarlane 7-inch. This guy's a little bit shorter. I do not have a Marvel Legend on my desk. Wow. Do the antennas push down? I'm glad you asked that because I attempted to do that just now. I went like that before. It does not. What they did do, different from the original version, Well, for one, there's another head of him like kind of smiling, but they included a helmeted head sculpt. No way I'm using the helmeted one. It's not how we roll. In real life, that's how we roll. That's not how we roll here. And he comes with a hot dog because I used to love hot dogs. Or was it chili dogs? They like chili dogs. I gotta get the bike. I gotta get the bike. Yo, this figure's good. This figure's good. I don't, maybe I should get Vinny just cause in case. This figure is sweet. Let's go to Walmart. Let's see if they have these on sale on the website. Yo, that's crazy. I did not expect to like this. This feels like a premium figure. Again, the whatever the finish is on it, the plastic's very smooth. To quote Billy Nichols, it feels good in hand. The pinless, double jointed. Yo, this is a good action figure, man. $8. You should not leave this behind for $8. I'll tell you that right now. Like I said, I'm going to go get Vinny, just in case. Like, I don't want to regret that later. The bikes were $20. Yeah, so see, $30 normal. Oh, they even had like the sport versions come out. Yeah, but they're full price on here. I wonder if you... Oh, yeah, they don't do pickup. Is it on Amazon? $50, $46, $49. All right, so it's slightly cheaper on Amazon than Walmart, assuming you don't have this in stock at your Walmart. Yeah, this is the one that was at mine, the sled, and that one goes to... Did this one go to Vinny? I thought this one... Yeah, I think that one went to Vinny. This one went to the other guy. Yeah, the purple guy. Damn, dude. Anthony's Customs did a review. Toy Shiz did a review. Let's see Anthony Customs video.
7.5. You could argue higher, you could argue lower, but I think 7.5 is good. I would lean higher personally because they function pretty darn well. Okay, and now it's time for the final verdict on this line. If you were interested in these guys before the review, I would say get them. If you weren't, then maybe you should reconsider because they're pretty good. I think at $36, these are kind of hard to beat. They could use more shading, higher level of finish quality, I suppose, but brand new sculpts across all three of them, all kinds of accessories with good detail, like for the bike helmets, for instance. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased with this line, and I personally don't care about the biker mice, but they're good enough that I'm considering keeping them rather than just buying them for review. So, I'm going to give them an overall rating of 8.5 out of 10. I think the finish quality could be a little bit nicer.
I actually really like the finish on it. But see how Vinny looks kind of deranged? In person, I wasn't digging it. I was not digging it in person. What's up, Rambling? So yeah, the bikes are $20 now on clearance if you have them at your local. But normally we're in that $50 range. Let's see if somebody reviewed the bikes. Nostalgia Unboxed did.
Today we're looking at mice that come from Mars. It's biker mice from Mars. Nailed it. Now these three things looking pretty good in photos.
Oh no, he doesn't have the...
Today on the channel, have an alternate headlight for the motorcycle, which I initially thought was a helmet, completely forgetting that a helmet came with an official kickstand. I wonder if, yeah, I was curious to see if these fire effects could fit. All right, all of these motorcycles, but this one specifically gives me Roger Rabbit vibes, in a good way. I mean, are there any bad things about Roger Rabbit? I mean, that's an incredible movie. Let's go ahead and get Throttle in here, get him in position to take a seat on this thing. Oh, gotta move the tail.
Oh, it does bend. Oh, okay.
And hopefully I don't rub off paint
I was gonna break it
on these handlebars like Moto. Okay, so here we go. All right. So this was a lot less of a struggle than the first two. And you know what? I think this is the best looking altogether. This is perfect. I love this. And you know what? Even without the use of the kickstand, this motorcycle actually balances pretty well.
See, I'm almost more inclined to see if there's a third party chopper. That's like, I don't think 1/12 might be too small. But you know, one of these, if there's one that has like the monkey bar handles, I think that might look better than that one. This one,
does it?
Like without it having the chrome on it, it looks too cartoony, which sounds ridiculous. I get it. I get that sounds ridiculous, but I feel like the OG toys had had some chrome on it. Let's see. '90s. Yeah, this one. Yeah, see, it did have like some chrome on it. That was a great figure. So I feel like this one not having chrome on it, it seems kind of weak. So I'm wondering if there's, if I could find a toy Harley that's 1/12 scale, maybe even bigger. 1/8? Do they make that? No, 1/12. Yeah, because it's definitely not 1/16 or 1/6. I mean, so that would be the mission. I think if I could find a toy Harley Davidson bike. I think that would be great. But it has to have like some cool what are they? I think they're called monkey bar handles. Oh, even that, $64. I'm not doing that. So that could be some homework for me. Try to find a bike that would work well with this figure. That one's close. Not quite there. Not quite there. Let's see. Anybody have photos of this thing? Okay, well here's the NECA 1/10 scale. A little small, but good enough for me. So that's what I need. I need a 1/10 scale. Yeah, they did. Yep. Vinny's seen some things. Yep. Did they do 1/10 scale? Nah, 1/12. Ah, well. We'll figure that out. I have all 3 vintage biker mice and one bike. Not sure why I purchased the new versions. Oh, yes, I remember why I did. Plastic addiction. Shout out to plastic addiction. But yeah, that was a good time. I'm glad that we were able to go live today. I'm glad you guys were able to stop by today as well. Let me know down below and in the comment section if you plan on seeing Superman this weekend. Will you see Superman this weekend? Is that the plan? If not, why not? Or is there something else? Are you more excited for Fantastic Four? Let's look at one more thing. I want to look at one more thing before we leave, actually. Patrick's watching it. Great stream as always. Thank you, Dave. Steve-O in the house. Good to see you. I do want to look at one more thing. Sorry. Let's look at one last thing before we wrap today's episode. We're going to go to D Amazing.
Quickly. Now, what's really cool about this is they can fold down so you can have storage in the back. Or
is it free? Is it streaming on Disney right now? Steve?
You can fold them up. Then there'll be 2 seats in the back so you can actually add more characters there. There's also a panel here. We can open up things on top too. So there is a lid up top, as well as a front lid, or a battle cover, I should say. I think it's, I don't know the military. Velaverse Marine. Here we are with a G.I. Joe classified Footloose. Let's actually move you over here. So as you can see, he scales out really well with these guys. It's one of those things where I don't mind him being a little bit smaller because it actually works really well. Here we are next up to a Marvel Legends.
I was kind of hoping he was going to put this next to like a ramen toy or something. But yeah, that's cool. Vehicles, man, I just don't got the space anymore. But we'll see what happens. We shall see. That you'll look like a bald Will Smith. That's hilarious. It was on a fire stick. Great. Great. All right, guys. That's a wrap. That is As He Falls, an episode. Dave said it. Great stream as always, and it's because of all of you that it's a great stream. You said Dre messaged you and said it was really good. He said, wow. All right, yeah, there you go. I hear that the movie plays out like, an episode of the cartoon, so I'm pretty excited for that. So we'll see. If I see it this week, maybe next week. Yeah, I'll try to get out there. But I'll give you guys a little nugget before I leave. For all of you that hang out to the end of the stream, I'm thoroughly excited to go to sleep tonight because your boy got a sleep apnea machine. And I'm hoping that tonight I have the greatest sleep of my entire life. I'm pretty excited. HeyArcher Live every Thursday, usually 8:15ish p.m. here on Nerd Affiliated. And then we've been dropping our daily videos, the Daily Planet. I missed today. I might miss tomorrow, but I keep on trying. And you guys keep on showing up. That's what matters. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace. I'm out of here.
More specifically, vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer.
Yeah, come on, push a button. Push a goddamn button.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.